Well, I thought I would just come in here this afternoon and do a real quick video. I'm up here in New Jersey today. I didn't get a load. I just booked a load out of Newark. I'm going to pick it up in the morning and take it to Harrisburg, PA. I got 800 bucks on about 170 miles. It's not great, but I'll take it for today. It's just one piece of machinery. I'm not quite sure what it is. But I wanted to talk about my spreadsheets. When I started trucking back in 2010, I wanted to track what was going on in my trucking business. And if you look right here, you can see the spreadsheet. And it goes all the way back to 2010, and I got out of it from 2011, 12, and 13. Came back in 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way up to where we are right here in 2024. So let's just look back at last week. These orange colors and the blue colors represent weeks. That there was 1 week. This right here was another week. That was the 1 week. And you can see I picked up in Moses Lake, Washington here and took it to Daytona, Florida. Then on the 29th, I went home. I went back out. I went from Augusta, Georgia to Augusta, Georgia. And I live in Augusta, Georgia. So somebody had called me to do some load. And it looks like it was only 60 miles. And I remember that load. And they paid $733. And basically, it was just going to a plant. They were moving some stuff from one plant to another, and I think it was 13 miles away. So that 60 miles is what I actually ran that day because I clocked myself. But actually, it shows the actual mileage over there at 512. And the reason being for that, let's take a look at that. The one before that I took from Moses Lake to Daytona, Florida. When I've been working for 2 or 3 weeks like that, I go home. And I was home for a couple of weeks there, and then somebody calls and said, "Hey, do you have a truck in the Augusta area? I got some local runs." Well. So let's lean back up here. You see where it says date at the top, load number, brokerage? These are the columns where I fill everything in. This is the loading odometer, and this is the ending odometer. This is the loading city and state. This is the ending city and state. This is what the broker is paying. This over here is what Google Maps says it is. So when a broker calls me and says, "Hey, I got this load that's picking up in this town, it's going over to here," and you know how we always look on the Google Maps, we type it in from this zip code to that zip code, or from this city to that city. That's the odometer readings here. Then I've got deadhead miles. Then I've got cents per mile. The cents per mile is what the broker is paying me to pick it up from this city and take it to that city. But I've gone a step further and got actual miles. The actual mile column is taking the ending odometer from where I just delivered at from the previous ending odometer, and it gives me the actual miles include with the deadhead, which is this final number over here in this column right there. So if you take the actual odometer reading, it's taking the ending odometer from here, from the ending odometer up there, and it's putting it in this column right here. And so the cents per mile is over here, and it's telling me what I'm doing in this column over here. Now, this very end column over here isn't assigned to anything, but it represents these colored weeks. So in other words, let me scroll it up a little bit more. So this week right here, I did 4375 and I did 1,272 miles. If you click that 4375, it takes all three of these numbers there and it auto sums it. This number above it is taking the ending odometer from the last load where I delivered right here in South Boston, and it's subtracting it from the previous week up there, and that was the load that I delivered in Bloomingdale, Georgia. So if it takes that, it says I drove 1,722 miles, and then this number here is taking the payment for the week divided by the miles for the week. Tells me I did 252 miles. And that's the way each one of these columns over here represents. So at the bottom of that color, and if I only did 1 week, it's basically just transferring over the 4,700, and then it's transferring over the $1.61 from right there. Since that's the same thing, and it's not going to change. These yellow columns over here, this dark, heavy dark line, represents the end of the month. And the same thing, if you take that number right here and you subtract, it'll auto sum this whole column. It takes this number here to 7,066, and it's taken the ending odometer for the last load I delivered on the month from the previous month before on the last load of that month, and it says I averaged $2 a mile. And this month here was a 186, 184, 186, 265, and we'll go on back up because the last part of the year has been really sucky. I usually try a little bit harder, but I've been getting myself jammed up. I've been having doctor's appointments. These last couple of months down in this area down in here, let me show you at the bottom. This month here and this month. This month here, I'm not sure what happened that month there, why my rates were so low. Probably the deadhead, because you can see the actual cents per mile was 215, 233, 457, 246, and then that 167. Let me double check this. Yeah, it's taking the ending odometer there from the ending odometer up there, and it's taking all of that, and it's taking this and dividing it by that. Yeah, so that's right. Somehow, but oh, you see that right there? Deadhead 120, 427, 16, 35, 42. This column on the deadhead miles right there always takes, so if you take that double and click it, it's taking the starting odometer and subtracting it from the ending odometer over here, and it's giving me how many miles are deadhead on that load. So let's just, for kicks and giggles, I'm just going to hit up here at the top. I'm going to hit equal auto sum over here. By keeping a spreadsheet like this, you're able to do multiple things. I can just take this down here and click that, drag it all the way to the top. And this is how I know what my numbers are for the year. And I got $158,000 that I have earned. Then over here on this column right here on miles, so let's go down here to the bottom. Well, we'll come over here on miles. So we're going to hit miles right here. We'll just skip a column. We'll hit equals. And I'm going to scroll to the bottom. Where's my little slider bar? So you take the ending odometer right there and you subtract it from up here at the top. The first odometer reading right there, enter. So far this year I've done 71,818 miles, and then we'll do divide by. So we'll take this, that, enter. So I'm averaging $2.21 to the hub for this year for all miles driven. I'll go one more step further. I'm going to click up here and I'm going to hit auto sum again, and I'm going to take the deadhead right here, starting of the year in January the 1st, and scroll that number all the way down to the bottom to the last load I just finished, and hit enter. And we're going to tell it that this number is a general number, and for some reason it's too long. Why is it still showing currency? General. So I've done 13,009 miles deadhead. So which is, how much is that per mile have I lost? Equals that 8 cents. So basically I have lost about 8 cents a mile deadhead this year. So, but I'm still averaging $2.21 with the deadhead. That could have been around $2.29 if I'd have kept some of my deadhead down. But it's what it is, you know, it's what it is. And I've got another program in here. Yeah, I won't go into that one on this video. I just wanted to show you what a spreadsheet can do. And this is how I keep track of my loads. And I've done it, and each year it's the same way. For example, fuel is the same way over here. These are the date over here on the left is every fuel stop, the city and state where I purchased the fuel, the odometer, the number of gallons purchased, and this over here is telling me how many average miles per gallon the truck is getting. And what that'll also do for you right here as well, so let me scroll this on down. I can take equals this odometer here. We'll do it over here on the side over here. So you can take equals, since this is the last odometer I got, we'll take this and subtract it from the beginning odometer this year, which would have been up here in January. Let's go up here to January the 1st. That was a good number right there on January the 1st. Enter. So I've done 69,598 miles. And then we're going to find out how many gallons we used. We're going to do an auto sum. And we're going to start where we started here at. I'm not going to do the bottom two because they're not included in this here report. So we're going to go all the way up to January the 1st, but not count the odometer where we ended at, and press enter. So I've used 10,587 gallons this year. So now we can hit equals the odometer, divide by the number of gallons. I'm averaging 6.57 miles to the gallon on all miles driven. Very handy to have spreadsheets and some sort of an accounting software program. Hope this helps anybody who's looking to start trying to keep records or is looking for a new way to keep records.